There's several categories, and we talk about pathways, and that this isn't just like, oh, here's one solution. There's no silver bullet here. So there's a whole bunch of things, from driving energy efficiency investments within our operations through to looking at fuel switching, like we're doing in our oil sands base business, where we're moving away from burning petroleum coke and switching to natural gas on a cogen, through to using solvents in the in situ facilities, right through to carbon sequestration. We think carbon sequestration is about 50% of the answer for us to get to net zero. And if you look at it, we make about 10% of all of Canada's emissions. So we're about 70 megatons on Canada's at 730 megatons. So we see ourselves as large emitters, and we need to be a part of the solution, not just part of the problem. And if you look at our plan and strategy from now till 2050, we see dealing with about 1/3 of the emissions in each decade. It's going to take us a few years to start seeing some reductions associated with this, but we're excited about the journey, and we think it's super important for us to balance the economy with climate, and we think this is the strategy and approach that we should take.
Certainly is responsive to a lot of current thinking about what the country needs to do and the globe needs to do. Mark, what do you expect or hope or need to see from government by way of investment or support to make this a reality?
Yeah, it varies just depending on the specific opportunity, because some of the things like our hydrogen project is different than carbon sequestration, or our cogen project, which we're just doing and we think is economic and we're investing in it. And so it just depends on the specific circumstance. Carbon sequestration is maybe the most challenging, because a lot of this is incremental capital and operating costs to be able to do it. And when you build these infrastructures, and we realized this when we worked as a team, is it makes no sense for Suncor to chart this path by itself, because the amount of infrastructure that's required for us to do it by ourselves, and Canadian Natural and Imperial and MEG and Cenovus, it just means we end up duplicating a lot of infrastructure. It costs a lot more. It just makes no sense. So what we're planning to do for carbon sequestration is build a common system that we all plug into, as well as other industries, forestry or any of the other industries in the corridor, because it makes way more sense for Canada to do this, drive down the costs, and so that we maximize the value of our resource sector and other industries in the economy.
We talked yesterday to Tom Rand, who you may know is an investor in the green energy, sustainable energy space. And he made the point, Mark, that 2050 is a long way off for some of the incumbent players here. I'm just going to play a clip for you from that conversation. Have a listen.
Well, I commend these companies for pledging to go net zero. I do not change my view that in the year 2050, they will be bankrupt. And this, if the federal government provides enormous amounts of capital towards this project, which they probably will, my worry is that that is money going into projects that are not viable in 2050.
Mark, what would your response be to that? That it's long enough out, and this is a sunset industry in some people's view, that that target is so far in the future, Suncor may not even be around then.
Well, we certainly plan to be, because we're investing in things like clean hydrogen and wind and other things. But if you go to the most extreme forecasts about what energy looks like in 2050, it still shows 20 or 30, I would say 20 to 60% of the existing demand for oil continuing to be out there. And one of the things we realize with climate is that people are looking beyond the commodity. Literally for decades, we've just treated this like a commodity. But now with climate, people are starting to think about, okay, wait a minute, it's not just the commodity, but I also want to understand the implications it has on the environment. I think this is the strength for us in Canada as we position ourselves for decades to go in the future, because we are looking at the entire ESG portfolio. So whether it's greenhouse gas emissions on the environmental side, or whether it's engagement with the Indigenous community or inclusion and diversity or proper governance. We're one of 2 countries in the world that are democratic, that have large resource, ourselves and the United States. The other groups that are in there are Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, Russia, Venezuela. And so we think when people care about where their energy comes from and how it's done, if we can get Canada to net zero for Canada's oil sands, we think that we are the winning card to continue to play in the markets decades from now. And we see that as the exciting opportunity. So I appreciate the opinion, but we certainly plan to be here literally decades from now. And we're excited about this opportunity.
There are, obviously people that are kind of deeply committed to getting to zero. We'll talk about scope 1, 2, and 3. You're dealing here with the emissions of your own productions. It's still true that a lot of the use of the things you produce create emissions of their own. Is that on your agenda at all?
Well, it's not specifically in Pathways, but let me just talk a little bit about what we are doing. Keep in mind, Amanda, that with our production, about 80% of it is exported. So when we talk about taking our entire industry emissions to net zero, some of those emissions, 80% of those emissions, are really supporting exports where we're providing oil to support other countries. And so I think it's a key point in this. Paris is actually established around, it's the production of the commodity that people are worried about. So Canada has some significant challenges because we're such an export-driven economy. The resource sector in Canada makes up about 50% of all of Canada's exports, and oil sands is the largest segment within the resource sector. So a lot of these emissions are actually driving down the emissions, and these investments are driving down the emissions that are supporting production that we're doing to support other economies. The second piece about it is several of the companies in here are involved in COSIA. So there's some other things we're doing on emissions outside of our direct operations, like X Prize. We've been sponsoring a X Prize on CO2 use for now 6 years. We just awarded it here in the last couple of months. One of the 2 companies that won it is a Canadian company called Carbon Cure. It's really exciting. They make cement and they're infusing CO2 into the cement. So it's a game changer on driving down the emissions in the cement industry. And it's interesting with that, their ambition is to, using their technology, offset global emissions by 500 megatons per year by 2030. This is a small company on the east coast of Canada. And you think that their ambition for their company is 2/3 of Canada's emissions. So there's things we're doing to try and progress technologies and commercialize technologies where we have significant impacts on global emissions. But I think it would be a bit arrogant for us to go in and say, okay, well, we did that. We were just a partner in it. So we see ourselves as partnering to help drive down global emissions beyond the project that we've identified.
And people that follow your industry in this country will know you have been big innovators and spenders on trying to be greener, more sustainable for a while. It doesn't change the perception, and the perception is intensely negative. And you can make a list here, but we've got finally, of course, the nail in the coffin of Keystone. We wonder still what's happening with Trans Mountain. You got the governor of Michigan willing to take on Line 5 for reasons that are best left to political discussions to understand. Mark, in terms of the investment climate for Canada's energy sector, if you're going to transition and survive this period, as you say, where on the one hand there's a climate agenda and on the other hand there's real economic need, how do you do it?
Well, that's exactly what brought us to this point, because we believe that we can have conversations about climate all day long, but often it just means that, okay, but there's no answer on the economy. Or a lot of times there's conversations about the economy, but we leave out climate. And we've spent a tremendous amount of time trying to find where is the path forward here, where we can position Canada to be the long-term provider from our resource sector.